Hi, my name is Lexi. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about how to handle social situations. So even if you've been fasting for a while, you may not have had to handle very many social situations just because things have been kind of closed down. And now that things are opening up everywhere, you may come across more of these situations. So I just wanted to kind of give you some options and some things to think about, things that have helped me as I've approached, different situations where, there's eating involved and basically where my window normally wouldn't be open. So my typical fasting schedule is to fast all day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So every now and then I'll come across something where, there's an event or some type of even unexpected situation where food is presented and it's on one of those normal fasting days. So I'm going to talk about what are some options that you can do to handle these situations. So the first option is to just shift your window around, to rearrange your schedule. So if you're doing a daily window, this is actually, I feel like, a little bit easier. So like, let's say you normally eat every day from like 12 to 4, but you have an event that is from, around 6 to 8 or something. So that day you have two options. Like, you can make your window longer, which is totally okay to do. This is a lifestyle. So it's, I just want you to know that you can definitely have those times where you just eat longer than normal. So that's what you could do. You could just expand that window and make it longer. The other thing you could do is just shift it. So, you could either shift it later by like 4 hours so that you're eating from 4 to 8, and then you still have the same eating window, the same 4 hours, or you could just kind of do kind of a hybrid where you shift it a little later, but you also expand it a little bit. So like, say you ate from 2 to 8. So you have a 6-hour window instead of a 4-hour window. So you could do it that way. The other thing is, if you are like me and you fast for an entire day, then you could do a few different things. So what you can do is you could change your fasting days altogether. So you could, if your event is on a Friday and you fast like me normally would be fasting on Friday, you could change your days that you fast that week from to Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And then that way you would still get in the same number of fasting days as usual. It does get a little bit trickier because then you're fasting on a day you normally wouldn't. So you just have to decide whether that's worth it to you, if that would work better in your schedule. And especially, it's a good option if you don't want to skip a fasting day. Maybe you're early on in your journey and you just don't feel comfortable doing that yet, and that's fine. The other option is that you could just take that day off and add in an eating day. And the thing is, you don't have to eat the whole day. Like, those of us who are alternate day fasters tend to have longer eating windows on our eating days, anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. So, but if you're adding in an extra day, so let's again say it was Friday, you don't have to eat that whole day. You can just make it that window that you would be eating at the party. Or the event. So it really isn't adding an entire day, it's just adding on a few hours. So it just depends on what's going on, but that's totally an option as well. Now, if you are doing the every other day pattern, alternate day fasting, what I would probably suggest is just to have 2 back-to-back eating days and then continue on your normal schedule from there. So you'd have, eat day, and then just go into another fast day, eat day, and resume your normal pattern, because again, it is life and it happens. And I promise you that these kind of switching it up moments where you change things up, you might eat a little bit extra, have a little bit more eating time, actually can really be helpful in the long run with not only your mindset. I think it's incredibly important to be able to to work these things in. But I really think that just for your body, it actually helps too, to just keep going and keep your body sort of guessing, keep your body reassured that you're continually going to be feeding it and feeding it well. So, don't worry too much about that. Now, you can also have 2 fast days after your 2 eating days, but I don't recommend that. I used to kind of do things like that, but I don't anymore, because to me it kind of feels more like punishment, and I don't believe in like punishing yourself by fasting extra. It's totally fine for you to take a break and do what you need to do. You don't need to punish yourself. Your body will readjust. You will get there. It's a little bit of a different scenario when we're talking about vacation, and in a few weeks I'm gonna do another updated video on vacation. I've talked about it before, but I've had some more experiences since then, so I'm going to talk more about that. But this is different. This is just like those like little events that happen here and there, and we definitely want to work those in. The second option, and this is for those of us doing alternate day fasting, is you always have that option to do a modified fast day. So if something comes up, this would work better for like things that are sort of unexpected. You always have that 500 calorie option where you can just have a mini meal, and that's still considered like a down day when you're doing that kind of modified alternate day fasting pattern where you're eating the 500 calorie meal once during that fasting day. So that's an option, and I always like to keep that in my back pocket, and I've used it a couple of times when things have sort of come up unexpectedly where I didn't know that I wanted to eat, but I ended up doing it, and I just really like having that option. So you don't really even have to change anything with your schedule with that one, which is awesome. Now, the third option, of course, is to just not eat, to go to the event and to enjoy the social aspect and to not eat. And I know to some people that probably sounds really crazy. Like, why would you do that? How could you enjoy yourself when people around you are eating and you're not? But it's definitely possible. So I've done this many, many times actually. And in the beginning, it was a little bit harder because I felt weird, and I just didn't want people to like point it out, and I didn't want to make a spectacle of myself. And that was really the only thing that I was worried about. It wasn't so much that I just felt deprived, like I wasn't eating the food, because most of the time I was totally fine not eating the food that people were eating. The thing that I've noticed is that people don't really care if you're not eating at a social event. They just don't want to feel guilty that they're eating in front of you. And so the way to avoid that is just to sort of not draw attention to it, to keep the conversation rolling. You probably don't want to like comment on their food, because then they'll say something like, oh, you should try some, and then unless you want to talk about it, then that's fine. But like, just keep the conversation based on things other than food, and smile and act like you're happy to be there, and people will they just won't even notice. Like, I have noticed that around me at different social events, people decline food all the time, and who knows why. Like, they already ate, or they have allergies and they can't eat anything there, or they're on a diet and they don't want to eat that food. Like, I noticed that people don't eat a lot actually at different things that I've been at, and so I don't ask them about it, other people don't ask them about it. We just all move on. We just are all living our own lives. So it's really all about mindset, and you can totally do that. So you just have to decide like what's worth it. Like, if you eat at this event, are you going to be glad that you did? Or are you going to kind of feel a little regretful, like it wasn't worth it? And I don't think there's any situation where you should feel guilty for whatever choice you make, like whether you ate or didn't eat. I don't think you should beat yourself up about it. But just make those decisions, like play it out in your mind and say, okay, if I eat this, am I going to feel like it was worth it? Am I going to feel good afterwards? How am I going to feel about it tomorrow? That type of thing. And if you feel like it's totally worth it, then go for it. Just enjoy it, embrace that moment. And tomorrow's a new day and you can always just move on. But I find that actually it can be a very enjoyable experience to participate in a social event and not eat, because I'm really focused on the people and the interactions, and I'm not like focused on my food. And, like I don't have to worry about whether I'm gonna feel sick or anything like that. So I think that there can be definitely benefits in certain situations, but then there's also situations where I'm really, really happy to participate in the eating aspect. What I do find is that it's much easier to not eat when you're in a situation where people are walking around, and you can kind of float around like that. It would be harder to like sit at a table, especially in a restaurant where you're like ordering food, not to eat. So just think of that ahead of time and see if that's a situation where you feel like you could handle it, or if it would just be better to go ahead and plan around it and make it an eating time. So a couple examples of times where I did not eat. I am a part of a homeschooling group, and there's been a couple times where we've had some like potluck activities, where people brought food and we all ate, the kids played, and the ladies chatted and we ate. And so both of my homeschool co-op is on Mondays, and so usually it's just not worth it for me to eat that type of thing like in the middle of the day. The food wasn't like super exciting or anything. It was just, so I didn't feel like it was worth it on those occasions. This was early on in my fasting. And so the first time we were at a park, and I just kind of like, while the ladies were eating, I just sort of went around with my youngest child. I was pushing him on the swing and doing stuff, and nobody noticed at all. And then later on, I went and sat with them and talked and stuff. Nobody noticed. Nobody said anything. We had another one that was the same. This time we were inside. And there was some sparkling water there, so I just grabbed some of that and sat and drank it while the ladies ate, and we chatted and nobody noticed. I promise you, people don't often notice when you're not eating. As long as you're just kind of talking and they're just focused on them, they're focused on their lives, their things. And usually people just don't notice. And then there was another time, this was recently, this was actually an eating day, but so I was within my church group, and I had already eaten and I'd already closed my window. So I had closed pretty early, like at 3:00 in the afternoon. And then we went and did this activity. And then afterwards they went to In-N-Out Burger, which I like In-N-Out. I used to like it a lot more. Now I kind of feel like it's too salty, but I like it. I would have enjoyed it if I ate it, but I wasn't hungry. I had already eaten. I didn't want to reopen my window. So I sat with them. They ordered their food. We sat together, and I just chatted, and, I had a really good time. Like, I don't know if they felt awkward, but like, I just tried to not make it awkward, and I don't think they did. I just chatted and had a nice time talking with them. And I knew that like if I wanted to eat it, I could have. If I wanted to go to In-N-Out the next day, or the next day that I was eating, I could get it. It wasn't like a once in a lifetime opportunity. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm fine not eating this right now. Like, I would rather just keep my window closed. I will feel better if I do that. I know I will be happy that I did the following day. And I was like, it just, in that moment, I chose not to eat, and that was the right choice for me. But there could have been another scenario where I chose to eat, and that would have been the right choice for me. And so you just have to really look at each situation and make that choice for yourself, what is worth it, and be okay with it and be happy with it and move on, and enjoy either the eating or the social aspect. And of course, you can enjoy both. If you're eating, you still enjoy the social aspect. But I hope that really helps to sort of give some different scenarios and some different possibilities of ways you can handle it, because you do want to make this a lifestyle. You want to make it something where you can enjoy your life and participate in eating and socializing. You don't want to be reclusive and just hide away in your home because you're fasting. We can definitely make this work. And so I want to present some options to you to help you in doing that. So I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.